Hello to you, it's Crypto Anime here. Today we're going to be doing the rest of Volume 1 for Demon Slayer manga. So, Chapter 2, The Stranger. Tanjiro goes into town and asks for a basket and refuses to not pay. Like, he wants to pay for it, but the townsfolk said that he doesn't have to pay for it. He ends up smacking the coin down into her hand and hurting the lady, but whatever. He runs back to the cave where Nezuko is, and at this point she has dug a hole to try and avoid the sunlight because sunlight hurts demons, apparently. So it goes to like kind of a cutesy scene where Nezuko's trying to fit inside of this basket and she's just like falling over and not fitting because she's too big. So Tanjiro tells her that she needs to sloop down, and eventually Nezuko does shrink and fit in the basket, looking very, kawaii. And so they start their journey, and they find this way station where Tanjiro smells blood, and they go inside of it and they find demons kind of feasting on these bodies, and the demons say to get out. So they're feeding crowds, but notice there's something different, and then notices Tanjiro's human, and they get into kind of a brawl. Tanjiro manages to land a blow, I think to the neck, but apparently it's not a big deal because the demon just heals it in a matter of seconds, and the demon's got Tanjiro kind of pinned down, and Nezuko kind of swings in for the rescue and kicks the head of the demon off, which was incredible. But the head still talks, which is kind of creepy, and the body's still chasing them, which is also pretty creepy. I want to say they chase the body off of a cliff, and then the head still talks and manages to grow arms. And then Big Baddie Man himself, Urokodaki, shows up and says he needs to kill the head, but he kind of thinks to himself that Tanjiro is a little bit too soft, which concludes the end of Chapter 2. Chapter 3, Return by Dawn, starts off with a message from Tomioka to Urokodaki saying that he sent these two to him to train, well, for Tanjiro to train, and that they're different, and that Tanjiro could be worthy of carrying on Urokodaki's traditions, which is interesting. So I guess I got kind of ahead of myself a little bit. So Tanjiro can't kill a demon, and the sun ends up coming up and burning it, like immediately, bursts into flames. And that's when Urokodaki calls Tanjiro soft. So he then gives this speech to Tanjiro about what would happen if his sister ate somebody, like what would he do? And the bottom line is, if it were to happen, he says that Tanjiro would have to kill his sister and then himself, which is a pretty intense consequence, but I mean, it's founded, it's founded. So he manages to follow Urokodaki back. He says, follow me back if you want to be trained, that kind of thing. And on his way back, like the whole time, kind of like, I guess the trademark is him saying that he's going to make Nezuko human again. So he gets back to the top of the mountain, and the test for him is to make it to the house at the foot of the mountain before the sun comes up through this very thick fog, which isn't really a problem for Tanjiro because he has a sense of smell, which is very strong. But there are some really intense booby traps along the way that could pretty much kill anybody if they weren't, Demon Slayer material, I guess you could say. But in conclusion of the chapter, he does happen to make it back, like right before, and Urokodaki did take Nezuko down with him, but he makes it back and is accepted as Urokodaki's student. Yay! Yay! So hopping on into Chapter 4, Tanjiro's Journal Part 1, we're going to have a brief little synopsis and lore background to the Demon Slayer core, as well as how to kill a demon, which is really interesting to kind of, learn about. But then it pans over to Tanjiro going down the mountain every single day, getting stronger and faster, more agile. But as he's doing this, the traps are also getting a lot more intense, like they're trying to intentionally kill him, which is kind of the entire point. I mean, you can't beat traps, how are you going to beat a demon, And then it also shows him swinging his sword every single day. It's a wooden sword, but it's swinging it until his arms are pretty much ready to fall off. Because you gotta train the swordsman somehow, man. You can't just do nothing. Come on. And then, it goes over to his training forms. Oh, actually, right before that, it shows him training how to fall and then get back up quickly. So getting knocked down and getting back up, knocked down, getting back up. Urokodaki's knocking him down. He's trying to get back up as quickly as he can. But and then it shows him starting to learn the basics of the standard forms. And then it goes to a kind of sadder more point of the chapter being Nezuko has now been awake in over 6 months. We go back to the training, and after a full year, Urokodaki says he has nothing left to teach Tanjiro. Which, it's a year of training. I mean, there's a lot he probably got in there. But his last test to go to the final selection is that he has to split this gigantic boulder in half. Which seems, like it's going to be impossible. It's a giant boulder. I can split a boulder in half with a katana. But he's trying every day, not getting anywhere. And a man in a fox mask appears and pretty much just craps all over Tanjiro, calling him slow and weak and immature. And how does he plan to get anywhere the way he is currently? So we're going to hop right in then to the chapter 5, being Tanjiro's journal part 2. Duh. So, this man tells Tanjiro to come at him, even though Tanjiro has a steel sword, steel katana, and this boy has a wooden sword, and he acts like, yeah, no big deal, whatever, what are you going to do to me? And after this little encounter, the boy goes on to say that Tanjiro learned the teachings as a fact, but his body doesn't actually understand anything, which is kind of a big old diss. And then this girl shows up, and Tanjiro kind of fangirls over the blow, saying how it was perfect, and he can never be up to that kind of level. So these two get introduced as the two, Makomo and Sabito. So then it goes to her pointing out all the flaws in his kind of fighting style and how he's going about doing anything. And then it goes into the background of how Urokodaki raised them. They're not siblings or anything, but he raised them to be demon slayers. So then Makomo talks about total concentration, which accelerates the blood flow and heartbeat and gets your temperature rising. Makes you almost like superhuman, but not kind of. So he trains for 6 months, and Sabito returns with a real sword. And they fight, and it's over in an instant, and Tanjiro has sliced his mask in half. However, once that happens, Sabito vanishes. And he didn't split the mask, but he actually split the boulder for a thrilling end to Chapter 5. So let's push right on to Chapter 6, and so that's a Mountain of Hands. And it starts off with saying that Nichiren swords are the swords that are special and used to kill demons specifically. So, skip a little bit, Tanjiro learns, it's called a opening thread. He learns how to smell it, which basically gives an opening in his opponent, which he can quickly execute and take them down. So, he got approved for final selection. Woo, go Tanjiro, right? Hey, look up. And he gets his haircut, and he gets a fox mask, like the rest of the students. So on his way out, Tanjiro says to Urokodaki to give his best to Sabito and Makomo, and Urokodaki kind of freaks out a little bit, says how can he possibly know these dead kids? Ooh, spooky spoiler, come on now. So he goes to final selection, which he must survive Mount Fujikasane for 7 days, and on this mountain there's a specific flower, I want to say it's like a wisteria flower, that demons hate, but it only grows on half of the mountain. So these demons are pushed to the other half, and they have to survive there for 7 days. And Tanjiro is going through beating some demons. It's nuts. It's awesome. And then this huge deformed demon with all these arms, and he looks just gross and awesome, appears and is kind of wrecking all of these students. So Tanjiro's using all these really cool forms on this, which I'm not going to spoil because you just got to read the manga. It's awesome. It looks really cool. But he's showing what he's learned, and it's pretty cool. But this demon looks at him and says something rather spooky. He says, another one of my dear foxes has come, meaning that there's obviously been quite a few more of these guys that's come down, and he's just taken down because, or not taken down, maybe, I don't know. So we're going to leave off Chapter 6 on that spooky little side note, has he killed all of these other fox kids? Has he not? What's happened? Obviously he's killed them because he's not dead. So let's hop into the last chapter of the volume, being Spirits of the Deceased. And it starts off with the two dead kids, the spirits, talking about if Tanjiro can actually defeat this demon or not. And it kind of seems like they have their doubts, but are kind of hopeful at the same time. It's kind of misleading. But this demon has been on this mountain for 47 years, which is a really long time. Nobody really believes that he's been there for that long because it's kind of unheard of. And Urokodaki is actually the one that caught that demon and brought him there. And this kid has eaten 50 of Urokodaki's students, and it's kind of his goal to find all of Urokodaki's students and to kill them. And then he goes into very, excruciating detail about how he killed Sabito and Makomo. And it's just kind of like a taunt, he wants him to come after him. And at this point, Tanjiro does, and he learns that this demon has a very hard shell, which is, I'm guessing, why the other kids couldn't destroy him. They just weren't prepared for that. And it pans over to Sabito saying Tanjiro's boulder was bigger and harder than any of the other boulders that have ever been caught by one of his students. And it ends with him doing a water surface slash form, which is kind of an open-ended ending. You don't really know if he defeats it or not. I'm going to assume he does because the form looks really cool, guys, not going to lie. And that's going to end it for Volume 1 of Demon Slayer, and I thought it was incredible. I mean, the pacing is very good. The character development so far, for what it is, seems pretty dang good. I have no complaints. I like it. I like the art style a lot. It seems like a really cool environment, like the world that they're in. And I'm excited to read the rest of the volumes and then, eventually watch the anime. But let me know what you guys think. If you like the video, leave a comment. Like, subscribe, whatever you feel like. But other than that, have a great rest of the day, everyone.